Here with the head coach of Norfolk State now, Coach Latrell Scott. 49-21, your final score, Coach. We get the victory, which I know is the most important thing. But everything you said in the pregame show and before the game, it seemed like we did. You wanted to get more pressure. We did. You wanted us to see better play on the defensive side as a whole. We did. You wanted to see the offense be consistent, and we did. Talk a little about just putting it together.
Well, first and foremost, I want to send a special message to our guy Ray Wright, our equipment managers. Been here forever, and this is probably the first Norfolk State football game he's missed in 20-plus years. He's under the weather, so that one was for him. But in regards to our performance, the first thing you have to do is credit our kids for sticking together. During times where a lot of people could have tanked it and a lot of people could have listened to outside noise, our kids have stuck together. They believe in themselves, and they believe in our coaching staff, and we believe in them, and that's how something like this happens. Way too many penalties for us today, but they're all aggressive penalties. And to be able to come out and score on the first drive and, gain some momentum, and then, to be able to shut them out in the second half says a lot. Some great individual efforts, great team efforts. We do need to clean some things up on special teams, but I'm most proud of the fact that our guys hung in there and they stuck together.
I think, Coach, even in the special teams, we struggled a little bit in the first half, making a couple tackles. That's a couple tackles. In the second half, we did a better job at that. It seemed like whatever happened at halftime, it even galvanized the guys a little bit more. What happened at halftime?
Well, it was just a refocus. It's a no panic situation. We try to be the same people in all the same circumstances. And we told them, hey, if you cut the penalties, you get stops on offense, and you score points on defense, you'll win the game. And they came out and did it.
Big play by defense. We asked them to put a lot of man situations, and they did a good job of covering the wide receivers. But we also did a good job of getting pressure with our front four.
Well, it's something that we've been waiting on. Chris Myers and Tavian Blackwell, those kids, Speller, Ricky Thomas, Dixon, those guys, they played well for us. And they've played, some good competition up to this point. We've played some really tough football games, some really top-notch football teams, and to see those kids have some success today and play like we know they're capable of playing is great.
You just mentioned 4 straight games. It was just a gut punch. We played Coastal Carolina, Montana, both the FBS and the FCS football team, and then you played teams that were picked to finish first in the conference and second, and we did a good job of holding our own against Florida A&M. We struggled a little bit last week. What does it say about the team as a whole?
Well, we don't make the schedule, we just play it, but it says a lot about these kids, and we've been talking about how mature they are, and a young, immature football team would have folded. We told them last week, hey, we're very disappointed in the way we played against A&T, but we've got 6 games left to play, and our goal is to try to have our first winning season here as a program, and we couldn't have that goal if we hadn't won this week. So we've got another tough one next week down in Daytona, and we'll have a little bit shorter week because of our travel plans, but we're looking forward to getting back home tonight, celebrating a little bit tonight, and going back to work tomorrow morning.
Finally, Coach, you talk about Justin Smith, but I think his play down the stretch really changed the ball game. That down the stretch in the second quarter, he got the touchdown going in the half, and then the first touchdown of the second half really got us going.
Well, Justin Smith's one of the best wideouts in this conference, and I've got to make sure that I'm getting him touches. We kind of moved him around a little bit today versus the man coverage, and he separated and made some plays. He made a great play right before the half to put us up again and give us some momentum going into halftime. And Tyler McElhaney came in and made some great plays today. I'm very proud of the way that the wideout group's playing. And Juwan, no turnovers today, played very well. He was tough. He was physical. He made good decisions. And a lot of people have a lot of things to say about our quarterback, as I said on Wednesday. But he's our guy, and we're going to stick with him until we find somebody that's better than him.
Hey, 6 total touchdowns as well for Juwan, 4 through the air and 2 on the ground. So he had a great night. Career highs as well for Justin, 2 touchdowns at 131 yards, and Savage with his third career 100-yard game. We hope he gets better.
Well, that's great. All those individual statistics, but nothing happens without our offensive line. Those kids open holes. They protected. The running backs protected. There's some great shots of those guys protecting on some of those downfield throws, and then again our defensive line played excellent. I think when you can have great interior line play, it gives you a chance to be successful, and we got it today.
It makes a nice little 3-hour ride back home to Norfolk before we get back to work tomorrow.
Well, I hope it's only 3. We'll see what this traffic has for us. But I tell you what, no matter the drive, it's just a much better feeling for knowing that these kids feel better than they have in the last month.
See you on Wednesday, Coach.
Thank you.
Career day here for Justin Smith, 131 yards receiving, and he also had 2 touchdowns. I think the biggest one going into the half was one of those touchdown receptions that we're now starting to see from you on a weekly basis. Talk a little about what you saw going into the halftime. It was a man-on-man coverage, and we did a good job of beating it.
We needed to play, and I knew all day I've been running goes. So when I dropped down, tried to run it, the stutter, he jumped a little bit, and I went in front of him. I saw the ball up, and I just decided I had to make a play.
This is probably the most complete game that the offense has played here to this point. 49 points on the board. You did a good job of beating man and coverage. That's what you just said. And that's one thing, if you see it, you got to beat it. Talk a little about what you did as a team, because Tylen had a big play against man coverage a couple of times here today.
Yeah, it starts off with the offensive line. They really held up for Pooty. Then it is with Pooty, making sure he's making the right passes, the right reads, and we completed all phases of that, caught the ball and made plays after.
It's been a tough 4-game stretch for us, and we've had some solid games, and we've seen some things happen on the offense and not happen on the defense. We've seen some things happen for defense and not really get going for the offense. Talk a little about what it feels like to have a game where you put it all together.
Like this week, we've been emphasizing we have to come together. We have to play hard on both sides of the ball. I know Coach Tracy emphasizes getting to the ball for the defense, and they really flew around today. So I feel like that implemented with our tempo, and we just came together, and we knew we had to win this one.
You had 3 touches today for 131 yards, and again, it looked like you had three touchdowns again today. But talk a little about, as the season gone along, what it feels like to be incorporated a little bit more every week.
It feels good. Starting to feel like high school again, being like, I get not the premier guy, but one of the premier guys. So I feel like I'm getting more comfortable in my role.
We get on the road again next week to take on Bethune-Cookman, a little bit tougher competition. It gets tougher and tougher as the weeks go along. A short week as well, as Coach Scott just said. What do we need to do to refocus? Because the win is good, but we have to do a better job of doing some of the small things, cleaning up some of those small things that we didn't do well today.
Howard's over. We got to get back next week. We got a long trip, so we got to stay focused and get right for next week.
Good game today. 3 catches, 131 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Congratulations.